Hello and welcome to another edition of Political Insider. I'm your host, Herald-Tribune political editor Zac Anderson. With me today is Christian Ziegler, the GOP state committeeman for Sarasota County, who's also running to be chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. Christian, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Zach.
Good to see you. So I wanted to start by talking about an article that was actually in the Tampa Bay Times this morning. It was an interesting piece by their political editor, Adam Smith, that looked at the races for chairman in both the Republican and the Democratic side. And it sort of noted that the infighting is sort of inversely related to the sort of importance of parties these days, and that the parties have diminished a little bit in importance in the modern era with the campaign finance laws. They funnel a lot of money to political committees and other areas. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. You know, why are you running for a job that it seems like is not necessarily as important as it once was, and what do you hope to do? What do you see as the mission of the state party going forward?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any infighting on the Republican side. I mean, we just had a lot of victories in 2016, so we're pretty happy on the Republican side. But when you talk about the role of the parties and where we're going and what's the future of the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, you're right. I mean, PACs are coming into play. These candidates are running their own campaigns sometimes independently of the party. But I'm a firm believer we need the grassroots. We need these organizations set up, and we need them set up county by county around the state. Because I always tell people, you know, candidates and elected officials, they come and go, but the parties stay. Right. So my job, and you know, in this role, if I'm able to win this chairmanship, is to really strengthen our parties, and I want to create a system that it's a full-time machine. It's running full strength, and every county is in sync, and we're all working together. They have the resources they need to win, and then when candidates come in, we can just drop them in and they can win.
So that's what you see as the real critical aspect of the party, is the ground game and the infrastructure, the get out the vote effort, the volunteers who are out there talking to voters on a regular basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. So each one of these counties, you know, they're headed up by a county chairman. They also have a state committee man, state committee woman, so there's 3 leaders in play in every county. And what we should be doing from the state party level is have the resources, also the education and the training necessary to support these counties and go in there and strengthen these counties, because they're going to know their community a lot better than the state party or a national party or even a candidate that comes into Florida. And they can hustle. They're going to chase absentee ballots. They're going to get people requesting absentee ballots. They're going to get out the vote on early voting and election day. And we need to empower those counties to do whatever they can to really be successful. So,
and that's something that you think, even though money is going towards these individual candidates' campaign PACs and things like that, that it's hard for them to develop a statewide infrastructure that, like the party can.
It is. I mean, you know, Florida is a different state. When you're running statewide, obviously the media markets is in play heavily. Because we have so many expensive media markets, right? But races in Florida always come down to a couple digits. And that's the ground game right there, and that's what the grassroots can do. So, you know, can the candidates really run their own campaign? Yeah, probably. But when it gets down to the end, and after we get out of the primaries, the state party really needs to support these counties to really push these candidates over the end at the very end.
Well, do you think the party has done enough of that? I mean, this last cycle, there were some questions about whether, you know, Trump had the ground game in Florida and whether he was coordinating closely with the state party. There's been some questions about unity within the state party, with the governor and the state's senators have pulled their money out of the party because of a tiff with the current party chairman. Does that impact? I mean, Trump won, Rubio won. Does that really impact how the success of the candidates here?
It does. It absolutely does. I think in 2016 we were very fortunate in that we had a once-in-a-lifetime generation candidate, right? With Donald Trump. He commanded so much media attention, which really kind of forgave, you know, some of the traditional campaigning that goes on. But when you look at the governor, you know, obviously the governor and the Senate are not involved with the state party as much as they should and as much as they used to be in the past. And again, I think we're at a crossroads. And as we were talking about earlier with the PACs, you know, candidates and these different, you know, whether it's the governor or the Senate or the House, they're going to have to make a decision. Do they want to rely on the state party and work together with the state party, or do they want to branch off on their own? I think they need to be working within the state party structure, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running, is for that unification of the governor, the House, and the Senate, and bringing them all into the to the table, because I think we're stronger as a team, and we need everyone at the table if we're going to be fully successful. So I think that's the exact reason why I'm running. That's one of my main themes.
So I'm sure one of the big questions you're facing is, Republicans had a successful year in Florida this year. They control both houses of the legislature. Again, Trump won, Rubio won. You don't replace the coach if you win the championship. Why would you replace the party chairman?
Well, again, I think 2016 was a unique year. We saw Donald Trump come in. He commanded a lot of media attention. We saw the RNC. They laid the groundwork, years before.
Right.
And then we had the local county parties that were hustling and the grassroots. And, I'm concerned with, when you look at the state party, what resources do they have to be successful? I know our staff has dropped, our budget has dropped. We don't have as much resources at the state party level. And I don't think in 2018, let's turn the page and look at 2018.
Right, where there's a governor's race, there's all the cabinet positions statewide are
and a
open.
U.S. Senate race.
Right.
And so when we're looking at 2018, I don't think that we can win in 2018 with the 2016 campaign that we ran, because we're not going to have Donald Trump on the ticket, and we're going to have to hustle, and we're really on our own in that year. We're not going to have the RNC come in as heavily. We're not going to have all this PAC money come in heavily. We're not going to have a candidate that can tweet and demand so much attention. So that's why I think, we did have a lot of success in 2016. These counties hustled at the local level, and I want to do what we can at the state party level to strengthen them even stronger, because 2018 is going to be a tough race.
So I know you've been out there hustling, talking to the folks who are going to vote for this chairman's position. A lot of people probably don't understand how the chairman of the party is picked. It's a kind of arcane structure. You have state committeeman and state committeewoman in every county, and then you have the party chairman in every county, and they all get a vote. And then there's some other folks that are appointed by some of the bigwigs in the state who also get a vote. But my understanding is you've been out kind of going to some of the counties, talking to these folks who are going to be voting. What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, I've driven over 3,000 miles in 8 days. So just crisscrossing this state, meeting with them. And as you said, there's 3 voters in each one of the 67 counties in the state of Florida. And I think their message is, we had a successful 2016, but they're ready for a full-time chairman that can focus on this full-time, and they're ready to strengthen the state party, so we're an unstoppable machine. So, you do have to go county by county. You sit across from them, you get to know them, you go eat at their favorite place in town, you go sit on their couch, you tour their businesses, and you really ask for their vote. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it and really getting to know these
What's your
guys.
favorite place you've been so far? I guess you've been to probably a lot of small towns and things around the state.
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, you have the drive in the Keys, which is always gorgeous. But then I spent last week in the Panhandle, and those beaches up in the Panhandle are completely amazing. And this whole state, every nook and cranny of the state is gorgeous, and we're very fortunate living in Florida.
So when is the election again?
The election's January 14th.
January 14th. So I guess you'll be campaigning hard until then, and we'll check in with you along the way. Thanks again for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Zach. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, and thank you for tuning in. Please tune in again next week for another edition of Political Insider.